To our regular village board meeting of November 15th, 2016. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call for regular village board meeting for November 15th, 2016. Trustee Maher.
Here.
Trustee Grady.
Here.
Trustee Penito.
Here.
Trustee Vandenberg.
Present.
Trustee Yunker.
Here.
Trustee Suggs.
Here.
Mayor Seaman.
Here. We have a quorum. Item number 1, consider approval of the agenda. May I have a concurring motion, please?
So moved.
And a second. Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, consider approval of the minutes from the last board meeting held November 1st. Do I have such a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 3, consent agenda. May I have such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Clerk?
Item 3, consent agenda. On roll call, under the consent agenda A, consider a proclamation in recognition of Ed Pazel for outstanding and dedicated service as Executive Director of the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association. And B, payment of outstanding bills in the amount of $8,464,903.94 as listed on the vendor board approval reports dated November 4th and November 11th, 2016.
Anybody have any questions about these two items? Seeing as there are none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
On roll call, item 3, consent agenda, Trustee Maher.
Yay.
Trustee Grady.
Yay.
Trustee Penito.
Yes.
Trustee Vandenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Yunker.
Yes.
Trustee Suggs.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 4, recognition of Tinley Park Bulldog JV White football team in their undefeated 2016 season. Trustee Yonker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The junior varsity white Bulldog football team, you guys could come on right up here and line up.
Do you want me to stay back here?
Yeah, just stand. Go one end to the other guys.
Keep coming. There you go. That's good.
Stand close, there's a lot of you.
The junior varsity white Bulldog football team won the Super Bowl November 6th in overtime, 20-14 over the Orland Park Pioneers at Joliet's ATI Stadium to cap off a undefeated 12-0 championship season. This team allowed the fewest points of any team of all 4 levels, which consist of 78 teams in the River Valley Football Conference. I had a great pleasure of coaching the Bulldogs for 5 years with Ken Anderson when my son was in the program, and he's still in the program now. And if could throw it over to Ken if you wanted to say a few words about your team, or at least introduce these guys.
Trustee Yonker and fellow Tinley Park Village Board members, Mayor, thank you very much for recognizing our Bulldogs JV White football team for achieving an undefeated 12-0 championship season in 2016 and a River Valley League Super Bowl victory. On behalf of our Tinley Park Bulldog football ADs, Bill Murray and Rob Glass, our president, John Anderson, and our entire organization, we want to thank the residents of Tinley Park for all their support throughout the season. We also want to thank John Kern and the Park District for letting us use the fields along with Andrew High School and Coach Lewandowski. I would like to introduce our 2016 Tinley Park JV White Football Super Bowl Championship roster. Our coaches this year, Jim Connolly, Todd Gilliland, Don Kohler, Jim McCarthy, Salik McCarram, Lee Stanwich, and Eric Tanquillet. Our team moms, Angel Cozzolino and Gina Arguelles. The JV White players, number 3, Ryan Wojcik, number 4, Jalen Gilliland, number 7, Kamal McCarram, number 9, Robbie Murphy, number 10, Kyle Thomas, number 12, Jake Tanquillet, number 13, David Wade, number 15, Stephen Dunning, number 16, Jaden Green, number 17, Connor Kohler, number 58, Austin Hepp, number 60, Owen Dunlap, number 61, Henry Jalowich, number 68, Cole Arguelles, 71, Josh Tanquillet, 72, Michael Vesley, 77, Ryan Dempsey, 78, Matthew McCarthy, 79, Muhammad Gaber, number 80, Andrew London, 81, Frank Rohde, 82, Joey Rohde, 83, Navon Barrow, 84, Alex Stanwich, 85, Donovan Wilds, 86, Justin Lorenzen, 90, Brian Green, 91, Michael Waldron, 94 Logan Mazeybrook, 95 Colin Crass, 97 Matthew Cummings, and 99 Noah Cozzolino. Members of the board, thanks for all your support throughout the years and everything you do for our community.
Thank you, Coach.
It's great to see you guys be successful because as I understand it, this is the second year for some of you in an undefeated status, and that deserves a lot of recognition. But what also deserves the recognition is the effort that you all put into getting it right and doing a team job together, but also to you coaches, that basically the moms and dads that gave up all the time that's necessary, because I understand you guys cover a lot of real estate here on these teams, so for that, we really owe a debt of gratitude to the moms and dads that they care enough. And I know there's a lot of responsibility that the Bulldogs take on, both financial and otherwise, to make these things happen. And believe me, it shows. It shows. You guys are going to be the ones sitting on the other side of this dais pretty soon, too. So hang in there, stick with it, continue to do a great job, keep your focus, and do what's right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm sure you guys have better things to do.
Take some cookies on the way out, guys.
Save some for me.
Okay, this is kind of a fun meeting because we get to celebrate some things. We just celebrated an undefeated team here, and now we've got, I think, another celebration, a celebration of what I would call outstanding citizenship. And with that, I'll pass it over to T.J. Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd ask the board to consider resolution number 2016R-035, recognizing 7 outstanding citizens on their bravery and extraordinary citizenship.
With waiver of first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. On Thursday, September 15th, 2016, 7 outstanding citizens came together to help a fellow citizen who was hit by an alleged drunk driver. Ella Jankover, Mason Penwit, Ronald Kronk, Ryan Nybert, Salone Goulet, Scott House, and William Nybert all acted in bravery and courage to assist the victim, Mrs. Laura Hediger. They helped her to remain calm while they boxed in the perpetrator and waited for assistance from first responders. We held a get-together over on the other side of the building to recognize these fine folks. The victim happens to be here also, but as I mentioned to 2 of the gentlemen and their sons who were part of this, in this day and age, for anybody to participate or get involved in a situation like this is almost unheard of, because you don't know what that person in the other car is going to do, if they might be armed, if they might, be crazy enough. So for these people to step forward and do the right thing to help the police department and help the victim stay calm after the crash, that they should be recognized wholeheartedly. We have some resolutions for everybody, but those of you that are here that were involved with that incident that night, if you'd come up, would like to read the resolution. Are we going to just do one, Mayor? Just read one?
They're all the same.
Yeah, they're identical,
Okay.
so I think the resolution would be great if the clerk would like to read it while everybody comes up that was party to the event.
We signed it.
Oh, I guess. You know, by heart.
Outstanding dedication. No, it's Ed Basil. Thank you. Wrong one. Resolution 216-R-035, a resolution recognizing 7 outstanding citizens on their bravery and extraordinary citizenship. Whereas on Thursday, September 15th, 2016, several outstanding citizens came together to help a fellow citizen who was hit by an alleged drunk driver. About 4:45 p.m., several drivers noticed a drunk driver going northbound on Ridgeland Avenue from Volmer Road. The driver was exhibiting such bad driving behavior that cars were maneuvering out of the driver's way. Whereas one driver, David House, called 911 to alert authorities, while another driver, Ronald Kroc, told his son Mason to start recording the driver's behavior. At 183rd Street, Laura Hertiger and Ellen Jenkover were walking alongside the road. The driver lost control and ran into Laura, causing several severe injuries. At this point, the driver did not stop and continued north on Ridgeland. And whereas William and his son Ryan stopped to make sure help was on the way for Laura, while Ella supported Laura and Ryan, Ronald Kroc and Mason Penwick, Scott House, Salone Gullet followed the offender to Ridgeland and 175th, where the three cars boxed in the offending driver. They did not allow the driver to move his car until arrival of the police. And whereas all of these citizens banded together to make sure help was on the way for Laura and to make sure the driver did not escape. As Ron began to notice the erratic driving behavior, he instructed his son Mason to start recording on his cell phone. Mason was able to capture the entire accident on camera, which will assist the Tinley Park Police Department in their investigation. Mason kept calm and showed heroic composure as he witnessed a gruesome hit-and-run accident. Additionally, all these good citizens provided evidence and testimony to assure the perpetrator was charged and, whereas now therefore be it resolved that the present village board of over 57,500 residents herein represented would like to honor an outstanding act of bravery, compassion, and extraordinary citizenship of Ronald William, Ryan Ellen Mason, Scott and Salone Collette. Copies of these resolutions will be provided to each citizen who assisted the victim in this accident. Adopted the 15th day of November 2016.
Thank you. You have the floor.
I have the floor. I'm going to repeat a little bit of what they said, but I would like to thank you to Mayor Seaman, the board, the village of Tinley Park for recognizing these people for what they've done and for allowing me to speak. I'm grateful for the opportunity to acknowledge my heroes. First, let me apologize. You're about to witness my ugly cry face, and no matter how many times I have practiced this tribute, the tears still flow. I want to thank you all for taking the time to join in with me to celebrate some pretty amazing people and being grateful. September 15th, 2016 was a life-changing day not only for me, but for Ella Jenkover, Mason Penwick, Ronald Kroc, Salone Goulet, Scott House, Ryan Niebert, and William Niebert. After the impact, I was on the ground trying to figure out if this is what death felt like. I heard Ella shout out, "Call the police, call an ambulance, call 911. And I gratefully thought, I know what she's saying. I shouted out my cell phone code, and I was grateful that she understood what I said. I had no idea of all the activity that was going on, but I was trying to breathe. I did not realize she'd gone into the street asking for help. I didn't know that people had driven off in their vehicles to stop the car that hit me. Emergency personnel started arriving on the scene, telling me their names and what they were going to do to help me. And in the beginning, I tried to focus on everyone and remember, but I didn't have the energy. Unknown to anyone at the time, I had 5 broken bones in my thigh, including my hip, 5 broken ribs, 2 hairline fractures in my neck requiring a neck brace for a month, plus a broken right arm that could not be repaired until 2 weeks later, so my neck would be stable enough to go through surgery. To all of the responders, the Tinley Park Police, the EMTs, the Tinley Park Fire Department, and anyone and everyone else that was there that I did not mention, I'm so grateful to each of you for all you did to help me. After I was airlifted to Loyola, I had a visit from a representative of the Illinois State's Attorney's Office with the Tinley Park Police at 3 in the morning. I was informed there was a video of the entire incident. Oh my gosh, how lucky was that? I'm so grateful to Mason for having his iPad and his video recording skills documenting the incident. I'm grateful that these exact people were at 183rd and Misty Pines Court at that exact moment in time. And with no thought for their own safety, the driver could have had a gun, off they went. I'm so grateful that Ryan was on standby with his boxing skills. Thank you for being ready to defend anyone that needed some assistance. The driver was surrounded and detained until the police apprehended him at 175th and Ridgeland. I am forever grateful that people helped in a situation that did not involve them. I'm grateful they succeeded in getting this alleged repeat offender off the street. You are all beautiful examples of honorable, caring, brave human beings. To all of my heroes, the words thank you can never actually tell you what my heart and soul feel. I'm forever grateful. And last but not least, to the people I love and that love me. I'm grateful for your support, be it a text, a phone call, a visit, a flower, making me laugh while you're doing wheelies in my wheelchair at rehab, an email, a kind thought, a card, saying a prayer, bringing me my favorite plush horse ice cream, letting me cry on your shoulder with my secret fears, taking care of my dog, driving from Indiana because you just needed to see me in person, taking me to sit in the park on a nice day, last minute frantic shopping for an emergency bathroom remodel. Who would have thought I would have healed before the bathroom was done? And FaceTime calls, offering to go to the grocery store, plus a million other things when my husband Joe ended up in the hospital with pneumonia. In the midst of everything, no matter what, thank you all, and I am very grateful.
Represents the real definition of a hero. Basically, ordinary people do extraordinary things, and they stepped up and did it. So we are grateful. Thank you.
Okay. Other good stuff. We have a program that's been going on, as I understand, for 21 years here in Tinley Park. It's known as Tinley Wish. It's something that our police department initiated, and it was embraced by our fire department and other village employees. So with that, TJ, I will hand it over.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Did we vote on the last one? Did we get that vote on the last one?
I have unanimous vote.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Unanimous. It was an applause vote.
Okay.
Item number 6, consider receiving a presentation on the 2016 Tinley Wish program. I don't know who's going to get stuck speaking in the microphone, but come forward, Amy. Good representative, and tell us about what's going on with Tinley Wish for this year.
Okay. Mayor Seaman, the village board. I am Amy Mahoney, Captain Ken Raymer, Sergeant Chris Butler, Mike Harmon, and
Gesundheit.
Bless you.
Officer Fred Mott. This is our 21st year. We had our meeting last night. We are helping 6 families this year. Our gift wrapping is going to be December 3rd at 9 o'clock at the police department, and our delivery is going to be December 10th as well as 9 o'clock at the police department. And after our delivery, Gatto's again is graciously providing lunch, and all are welcome to attend either the gift wrapping, delivery, both, whatever you like to do. Without the support of the police department, the fire department, the village, the citizens, and continuously supporting money, the organizations that do fundraising, example, Andrew's soccer team every year, their homecoming game, they do split the pot and gather money. Businesses continually supporting. So without everybody's help, we could not have this 21st year to continually again help, the village.
Well, Amy, I can tell you that I've participated in some of those in the past, and it is truly a heart-wrenching event to be able to see how grateful people in need are when their neighbors step up. And that's what this really is. This is a neighborhood stepping up to help people through the difficult times, and whether it's financial, whether it's health, whether it's both. Tinley Wish and its board has done an outstanding job in identifying those people in need and responding, which you're first responders and you do it from the heart as well. So we are most appreciative. Any other comments, DJ?
No, just thank you again for doing it, all the hard work you guys put in. It had to be tough making those decisions.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks.
Thanks. Good luck.
Item number 7, Trustee Vandenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And back to business with all the great things before this. So this time I move to consider adopting ordinance number 2016-0-059, granting a variation for a fence for certain property located at 6801 180th Court.
Do we have a second?
Thanks, Mike.
A second.
Second.
Thank you.
This is up for adoption this evening. Our petitioner, Lisa Costley, seeking approval for a 14-foot variation for a 6-foot tall privacy fence. This proposed fence would be in the same location as the previous one. I believe they had some issues with their old fence, and they're just looking to replace it. And for the sake of keeping a good record, we'd like to grant them this variation this evening. The Plan Commission did hold a workshop on October 6, 2016, and it was recommended for the variation.
This item is up for final adoption. Anybody on the board have any questions? Anybody in the audience care to comment? Seeing as there are none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Item 7, final on ordinance 059. Roll call, Trustee Maher.
Yay.
Trustee Grady.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Vandenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Yunker.
Yay.
Trustee Suggs.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 8, Trustee Maher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This time I'd ask the board to consider on first reading ordinance number 2016-0-062 and an ordinance amending Title 11 of the Tinley Park Municipal Code regarding amusement tax.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
The village enacted an amusement tax in 1990. The tax is primarily applicable to the live performances held at the outdoor concert venue now known as the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, but also applies to other live or recorded entertainment events such as plays, musicals, sporting events, and movies where an admission is charged. The tax was enacted as part of the development of the music theater venue and helped support an inducement incentive agreement for the theater developers to locate the facility here versus other locations that were under consideration. The tax code contained a provision applicable to motion picture theaters that exempted a portion of the movie admission or ticket price from the amusement tax calculation. This provision had been included to address a second-run movie theater that had existed at the time the tax was imposed, which charged a small ticket price. The theater to which this provision applied subsequently closed, and thus this exemption is no longer applicable or necessary. Accordingly, the provision was recommended for removal from the municipal code. In reviewing that change, the opportunity was also taken to review the rate of the tax. A review of the revenues and expenses associated with the 26-year-old amusement tax was also performed. As part of the review, it included a comparison of the tax rates charged by other communities throughout the state. After that review, it was recommended to increase the tax rate to 5%. This rate is comparable to the majority of communities with an amusement tax. It's also not the highest amusement tax rate charged. This ordinance updates the Tinley Park Municipal Code to remove the movie theater, second-run movie theater exemption, and to increase the tax rate from 4% to 5%. The new rate would be effective for events occurring after January 1, 2017. This matter was discussed at the Finance and Economic Development Committee, which was held November 1st, and recommended for approval.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Item number 9, Trustee Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd ask the board to consider ordinance number 2016 2019-0-060, amending Title III, Chapter 34 of the Tinley Park Village Code by repealing Sections 6 and 7 and adding a new Section 6, establishing the position of Fire Chief.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. The position of Fire Chief is not currently included in the village codes. This ordinance codifies the position and outlines the duties of the position and how the Fire Chief is appointed.
Are there any questions on that one? It's really just bringing it up to date while it was just bringing up. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, Trustee Suggs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'd like to consider entering into an agreement with PSC Group for expansion of our village SharePoint program.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
We're considering entering in this agreement and with PSC for the village SharePoint program, but the proposal confirmed, or I'm sorry, the proposal contract will give us 3 different areas that will help benefit us. And one is relevant and prior experience. Tinley Park has worked with PSC in the past and has found that their service to be of excellent quality. 2 is cost. PSC provided the village with the lowest proposal. And the third point was location. PSC is located in Schaumburg, Illinois, which is more beneficial to the village in case that there is something needed and they're not an out-of-state vendor. So,
This item is up for expenditure of funds, therefore a roll call will be required. Are there any questions from any of the board on this? Anybody from the audience have any questions about it? Seeing as there are none, Mr. Clerk, please.
Item 10 on roll call for contract with PSC Group. Trustee Maher.
Yay.
Trustee Grady.
Yay.
Trustee Benito.
Yes.
Trustee Vandenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Yunker.
Yay.
Trustee Suggs.
yes.
Motion carries. Item number 11, Trustee Suggs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to consider approving the regular village board meeting and the regular committee of the whole schedule for 2017.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
We're considering the approval of the regular village board and regular committee of the whole meetings, the schedule for 2017, and our regular village board meetings will be take place on the first and third Tuesday of each month of 2017 at 8 p.m. at the Village Hall, except for the month of July, when the village board meetings will be, actually will take place on July 11th. So the month of, and the regular committee of the whole meetings will also take place on the second Tuesday of each month of 2017, except for the month of July at 7:30 p.m. in the Village Hall. So appropriate notices shall be given in accordance with the Illinois Open Meeting Act.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions about that?
What's the history of why we started 8?
The 4th of July is a Tuesday, so it kind of pushes it over. That's why the July.
Perhaps you could share with us the history of why the village board meeting starts at 8.
That was before my time.
But it wasn't
I looked at the
before
town
my-
historian.
We couldn't get candles.
Oh, my goodness.
In all honesty, it was a direct function of the fact that a number of trustees work downtown and the train schedule's getting home. Steam trains in, and that's true, it's not just a candle joke. It easily can be changed.
Is there a preference to moving into perhaps 7:30?
I think they're looking at 7.
Well,
The only issue being your committee meetings, because we have a tendency, because everyone's going to be here already on Tuesdays, that it's been convenient historically to have some of them prior to board meetings.
that's what we've done. 7:30 might be a little easier.
I'm okay with moving it up 30 minutes. I mean, it seems that might be a more reasonable time.
Do you want to move we do that? We can put it right in now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at this time, I'll move to make all village board meetings for fiscal year 2017 to be held at 7:30 p.m.
Second.
Okay.
So that's the amended motion.
That's the amended motion. All in favor of the amended motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Got that one done. Item number 12, consider adopting ordinance 2016-0-61, which is an amendment of Title 11, Chapter 112, Section 112.22 of the Tinley Park Municipal Code, edition of one Class AV1 liquor license. I would make this and ask for a concurring motion, please.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. This is in relationship to the Odyssey Sweet Spot, a sports bar that's at 191st and Oak Park Avenue. There's a request for video gaming here. It is consistent with the use. The operator of it has already given and presented to the board an expanded menu. There were some other issues related to the office that have been resolved with village staff. So with that, I would ask that this particular item be considered for the board and adopted. Any questions from the board? Anybody from the audience care to comment? Let the record reflect there were none. Mr. Clerk.
Item 12, roll call on ordinance 061. Trustee Maher.
Yay.
Trustee Grady.
Yay.
Trustee Penito.
No.
Trustee Vandenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Yunker.
Yay.
Trustee Suggs.
No.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 13, ordinance number 20-16-0-70, amending Title 11, Chapter 112, Section 112.22 of the Tinley Park Municipal Code, addition of one Class AV liquor license. The owners, I'll ask for a concurring motion.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. This request has come from the owner of Little Joe's Pizza at 167th and 80th Avenue. They're a long-standing operator here at this site. This, once again, would increase the number of licenses up to, it looks like the AV license count would go up to 9 were this to be approved. The owner-operator appeared at the committee of the whole meeting and discussed this with the board at the last cow. With that, this item is for first reading. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 14. Comments from board and staff. I'd like to start by thanking the board members that were in attendance at the Veterans Day celebration on Friday. Trustee Vandenberg, Clerk Ray were able to attend. It was a well-attended event, and I think we think that we did our veterans proud. It was despite the wind and the little bit of rain that we got for a small part of it, I thought it was a great event, and the speaker, who was a Purple Heart decorated veteran from the war in the Middle East, was very articulate and did a fine job. The other point I'd like to probably, unless you want to comment on
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Sure,
the
please.
commission liaison, Kevin Suggs, was there as well. I don't want
Oh, I'm
to forget
sorry.
him. But yeah, no,
he spoke.
He did, and it was, Mayor, it was an excellent ceremony. I think Kevin and the commission did a fabulous job recognizing all of our veterans in Tinley Park and the surrounding areas. And certainly, it was an extremely moving keynote from Ian. I thought his message was loud and clear, and certainly something that we should all stand behind as citizens, to stand behind our veterans. So congratulations to Kevin and your commission,
Yeah.
and certainly the rest of the board.
Kevin did a nice job presenting and as
yeah,
well.
now he did.
Now I got to backpedal as best I can. The interesting thing, Ian had a service dog with him, a golden, and it was truly amazing how that service dog program is really becoming a part of the lives of these veterans that have gone through quite a bit. So we're glad to see that support for our veterans as well. The other thing I'd like to comment on is we've been fortunate enough, and this isn't the first time it's happened, they've been here several times. A group from the 21st Century Institute has presented a Chinese delegation. These folks are here for 3 months, and they were at the Village Hall I think the early part of this week. I think it was Monday,
Yeah, but they're still coming.
today and tomorrow, actually.
Thursday, too.
Thursday
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. Oh, okay.
Quite a presentation being prepared by Paula Walrick for planning for our Chinese delegation.
Well, I can.
She doesn't have enough to do. In Chinese.
I can say, and of course they're not here anymore, but they spent a lot of time with our fire department and continue to be amazed at how that part-time staff does such great things. And I know they've spoken to police and the other areas as well. So once again, a great opportunity to exchange ideas, exchange thoughts, and exchange governments. They continue to be amazed at how as I am amazed at how we do things compared to other parts of the world. And everyone has its strengths and weaknesses, and we're no exception, but there's always something to be learned. So I appreciate the time that I know staff has taken a lot of time to make those conversations possible. So I appreciate that. I think that helps us be more relevant on the world stage. Anybody else? Mr. Clerk.
Two things. We had a wonderful evening starting at basically 7 o'clock. And it happened because two people sitting in this room made it happen. What happened with the young athletes was a singling out by those of one of the trustees here, Trustee Juncker, who made sure that we knew and then asked, what can we do? And it was, by the way, last week. And the more he talked and the more we all talked, we were able to put something together that you saw this evening, but it also went on beforehand. Simultaneous with that, our police chief sent a long memoranda to the village explaining what happened that day, almost to the T that you heard discussed. The official family received it, we read it. There was no question in anyone's mind, as the mayor knows and everybody at this board, that deserved to be appreciated and it deserved to be understood. That was unique. Now, you didn't hear, and I can't say too much, you didn't hear the video, but if you heard the video, you'd have heard the father in somewhat direct terms, some of which might not pass Sunday school, describing, go to the left, go to the right, God, never do this. And the little kid was moving that video all over the place. I want to say that because both people, distinguished elected official and a distinguished senior administrator and our chief of police, knew that these were things that occurred in this town that deserved to be understood and seen. Had they not done that, we would have never known. And the rush of business would have just gone on. So, Mr. Mayor, to yourself and this board, which welcome them, but extra thanks to the two folks that I just mentioned that we saw producing behind the scenes extra effort.
Thank you, Clerk.
Thanks.
Anybody else on the board have any comment? Anybody from the staff? Any staff comment? Anybody from the public care to comment? Mr. Paz.
Hey. Got justice from Wee Man's height here. Okay, thanks. First of all, I also want to echo on what you were saying on how proud I am as a Tinley Park resident and fellow Tinley Park residents assisting someone here in Tinley Park. Citizen watchman, if you will, going above and beyond the call, especially since we're kind of advised not to get involved with these things. So I wanted to say thank you to them for really ignoring their own personal safety and putting their lives on the line for their fellow citizen. That makes me as a lifelong Tinley Park resident very proud. Now I'd like to go on to what I originally wanted to talk about, which is item number 8. So talking about the tax, the amusement tax. And the interesting thing about this, when I first read it, is the number one thing that's going to be taxed as of right now is what I still call the World Music Theater. I don't know what it's called these days. It's changed names so many times. So let's just call it the World Music Theater, which primary purpose is to give us music, right? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the branding campaign about music? And now you're going to tax it more? It's kind of like you're getting the branding campaign off on the wrong foot. You're taxing music, and in general, when you tax something, you get less of it. So it kind of like it's not jiving. Now, in general, I would oppose any tax increase just on libertarian principle, but specifically I'm going to oppose this one because it doesn't jive with the branding campaign that we paid $75,000 for. So now, going on, what exactly, how much more revenue did they calculate it out to be going from 4 to 5%? Trustee Maher.
I don't have that exact figure in front of me.
And of course,
1%.
Yeah, 1% of whatever the 20 to 30 concerts. I'll ask Treasurer Bettenhausen, who doesn't appear to be here, because I'm sure was he part of. Please tell me he was running the numbers and we didn't get a consultant to figure this out.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. All right. Then I will follow up with him and figure out what we're gonna get out of the extra 4 to the 5, assuming that we still get the same number of concerts and it doesn't deter any more concerts from coming here. But again, I ask you guys, I ask every single one of you up here, first of all, A, do you really want to go against your own branding campaign? And 2, B, I know some of you guys are going to run for higher office at one point, and do you really want to vote for a tax increase on your record? Think about that, taxation stuff. Have a good one.
Thank you, Mr. Paz. Anybody else care to comment? Mr. Eberhard.
Just as an FYI, the current amusement tax revenue is $482,000 at 4%. So add 1% on, you can figure about another $120,000.
Part of that was cost, though, right? That were associated with the World Music Theater.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there was money that was made in addition.
Yes.
Right. There was an offset to it.
The great majority of those costs are recovered.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm still looking for Mr. Paws to donate that podium that he talked about a few meetings ago, but I want to add to your celebratory attitude, Mr. Mayor, and I'm going to say that this is not as important as citizens coming to the aid of others or those kids that are out there learning sportsmanship and doing what they did. But I think by the time I'm done, I'm hoping that you're going to realize that I have some good news for you. It starts off with involving Mr. Niemeyer's June 2016 For the Record column, where in his initial publication he talks about the garbage contract. And apparently it's the position of the village that you admit that the wording in the ordinance, and this is taken from Mr. Niemeyer, the wording in the ordinance stated the village is entitled to collect on the full value of the recycled items. This was likely a boilerplate ordinance. Then he goes on to talk about the opinion of legal counsel. The village's legal counsel is of the opinion that the contract with Tinley Park Disposal supersedes the village code. Now, my experience has been that this is not Mr. Conley's position. He may share the same position, but he hasn't made that known to me. This is Mr. Murphy's opinion. And I think it bears noting that Mr. Murphy, I have to say in a rhetorical way, how is it not surprising that the special counsel that a Team Tinley board hired just happens to be a campaign contributor to Team Tinley candidates? Contrary to what Mr. Niemeyer says, contrary to a lot of opinion, it's been the law in Illinois since 1917. This is quoted from the Illinois Appellate Court. There can be no enforceable contract, either express or implied, which by its terms violate a statute or a city ordinance. It is a rule of the common law that all contracts opposed to legislative enactments are void. But the Team Tinley board takes a different position. So you give this contract started in 1993 to Tinley Park Disposal. Don't even take my word for Tinley Park Disposal. Let me remind the board, and let me remind those who haven't been paying attention, that in November 2014, the Tribune Watchdog described Tinley Park Disposal. In 2011, Tinley Park concluded its residents were paying more for garbage collection than people in neighboring towns. But instead of trying to find a less expensive alternative, the village rehired the same garbage collection company, a firm tied to a political insider, without any competitive bidding. That contract extension in 2011, worth an estimated $24 million, won't expire until 2019. A Tribune review of records found that the garbage company, Tinley Park Disposal, has continued to receive no-bid contract extensions for nearly 2 decades. The company was founded by Al Seegers, who has been a volunteer village commissioner since 1993, just a few months before his business inked its first deal with Tinley Park. Seegers is also a campaign contributor and friend to longtime Tinley Park Mayor Ed Zabrocki. The garbage contract is another case of a politically connected company getting a contract in the south suburb. The Tribune reported previously on how Tinley Park, over several years, paid $1 million in no-bid cash to a printing company owned by the mayor's campaign manager, spent $176,000 at a flower shop owned by the mayor's secretary's family, and spent $86,000 for holiday decorations from the village marketing director's sister-in-law. It's not just the political or the Tribune watchdog writer that presents the evidence of Mr. Seegers being a political insider. Let me remind you of an email that certain of you elected officials got on February 26, 2015 from former trustee Staunton. All, as a FYI, I met Al Seegers at HQ last night, and we put 3 folding tables, 4 high-top rounds, and roughly 20 chairs in there. Should be enough for the 2015 election. Then come July of this year, Mr. Seegers and another representative from Tinley New Way Disposal came into these chambers. I believe it was for a committee meeting. This was involving the issue of all the television sets being out at the recycling center. And he said, we can't do it anymore. It costs us $25 a piece. Shortly after that, the Village of Park Forest held what they called a Growing Green Recycle Fest. They charged us non-residents $20.
Okay, Mr. Everhart, you're at your 4 minutes.
4 minutes, okay. It's the same thing that you did, and I'll come back next week.
You're
Or
more
next
than
board
welcome.
meeting, I'll continue on. Thank
You're
you.
more than welcome. Thank you, sir. Anybody else care to comment? Lucas?
Hi, I just have 2 simple questions. First, what does the amusement tax exactly go towards? Is it like a general fund, or is it just goes for a specific thing
Well, it
towards
goes
the
to
theater?
offset cost, first of all,
Okay,
of the
for
music
theater?
theater, and then the balance would go to general fund.
Okay, no, I was just curious about that. And second question, clerk Ray, did you have any updates as far as how the early voting ended in the Tinley Park Village Hall, as far as final numbers or
Yes,
overall?
we do. I have a report here.
Thank you.
No, I don't.
Oh.
Before you get hung for asking me to comment. We went over the 7,000, 6,300.
Cool.
And we're going to actually put that into a written report to the board. It was outstanding. And the board, I think, have copies of my letter to the clerk of Cook County.
Yes.
In which we thanked him. He went out on a bit of a limb to put it here. We've been asking, I think you know, for a number of years. And it was outstanding. And the young people and old people that worked here, the judges, extraordinary people. So right across the board, you had a real plus. I should say that overall, the amount of voting throughout Tinley Park, we're still analyzing from the 3 townships and 2 counties. But of course, the turnout was pretty solid.
And then, did you by any chance hear of how Tinley Park's early voting numbers competed towards Orland Park or Oak Forest, or no? Just
We did,
curious.
but can I not comment? Let me just say
Oh, no,
that with regard to one of those 2, we were clearly more.
Okay.
It might have been in both cases, but not in Orland's case.
Okay.
But in Oak Forest case, yes.
I was just curious. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Sure.
Any other comment? Mr. Stuckley?
Recently, we had a citizen come up here a few meetings ago and suggested that by maybe April that Tinley might resemble a ghost town. I was on the social website the other day, and I said, looks like there's some progress being made in Tinley. Lots of businesses opening up, which are 6. I consider that's a lot since we've been pretty slow. And the comment from the person on the website was, what businesses? Tinley looks empty. So we got 6 businesses in open up. 6 2 are open up presently. Then we got the complex on 179th and Oak Park Avenue. I don't know if that's condos or townhouses. We got that going. So at least there's progress being made. And whenever progress is being made in a lot of areas, I'm not saying Tinley, but all over, there's always a negative. When something happens positive, there's always somebody detractive, something negative to have to say, because they just don't want to admit that there's progress being made. But at least I think progress will be made in Tinley. And I expect more businesses will be opening up soon. And I'll make sure that I, visit them, spend my money, and support them.
Thank
So I'm
you.
going to say that. Also, this is to the chief. The incident at Holstein's the other night, I'd like to congratulate the department on making the arrest, and hopefully, they get prosecuted and stuff. So that was great to see that it happened that quick.
I'll pass it along to the officers who did the work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments from the public? At this time, I would like to ask for a concurring motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired, B, litigation or an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed body, and C, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. May I have a concurring motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call on adjournment to executive session. Trustee Maher.
Yay.
Trustee Grady.
Yay.
Trustee Penito.
Yes.
Trustee Vandenberg.
Yay.
Trustee Yunker.
Yay.
Trustee Suggs.
Yes.
Motion